Hello everyone, it is Mrs. Deutsch and we are here for our second remote art class of the day. This one will be a little bit simpler, so it's probably okay for pre-K and up. We will be doing a directed drawing, so it's suitable for older children or yourself as well, because you can make this as difficult or as simple as you want to make it. For today, we will be doing another directed drawing. This time we'll be doing a happy rainbow chameleon guy out enjoying some sunshine. I picked this because it's going to give us two things. One, we can do a little bit outdoors while we're all stuck indoors. Even if it's just a drawing of something outdoors, it still can give us that feeling. Maybe after you're done drawing your picture, you want to move outside to color it. Sounds good to me. Just make sure that you're safe and you're practicing social distancing, okay? The other reason that I chose our happy little chameleon friend is because what makes chameleons, what makes them succeed out in the wild is their ability to adapt to their surroundings. So while we draw and color this happy guy today, we'll be talking a little bit about what it means to adapt and how we can adapt during these changing times. If you are going to join me, all we need for this is paper, a pencil, and an eraser. We do want our black outline marker. And then for this particular lesson, I chose colored pencils in my rainbow colors as well as a few other colors. And the reason for that is colored pencils are one of the easiest tools to learn to blend your colors with. So gather up your supplies and let's get ready for another great remote art class. See you soon. Okay, it is time once again for some remote art class. This time directed drawing with Mrs. Deutsch. We will be doing this beautiful rainbow chameleon on a nice little branch with some spring buds coming out. And I chose to make it a nice sunny day, happy day, because that's my favorite kind of weather. If you're ready to start creating this happy little guy with me, let's go. All right. So to begin this piece, we actually first want to draw our branch because that is where everything, that's going to help us determine where we're placing everything. So it's best to start off with our branch. I am actually going to use my ruler. You certainly don't need to use a ruler for this because I actually won't be using the straight lines I create. I just like to make sure that I'm kind of making an even shape from one side to the other. So I will trace both sides of my ruler rather, and that's going to give me the basics of my branch. But if you're with me for my last rainbow line landscape tutorial, we talked about how trees have such nice texture. So I'm going to use that ruler line just as a guideline, and I'm going to make sure to add some nice bumpy texture so that it looks more like a real tree branch when I'm done. I can erase my straight lines now, or I can erase them later. That's up to me. I think I'm actually going to wait till later. So this is going to be the place where we place our happy little chameleon guy. We are going to start with our chameleon's head, and we want to have our chameleon's head towards the front of the branch, but not all the way at the edge because we want to leave lots of room for his nice big curly tongue. But we are going to make a nice big capital L, leaving a little bit of space above the branch. We don't want it to touch the branch. We do want it to be above the branch. It's kind of floating a little bit. So our nice big capital L, and then we're going to use a curvy line that goes from one end to the other of our L. And that's how we're going to create our chameleon's head. For the body, which we want to go about halfway, a little longer than the head, but we want to make sure we leave lots of room for our beautiful curly tail. We're just going to do a straight line, once again, sort of floating above the branch. And we're going to make a similar curvy line, just going the opposite way. That comes almost to the top of our chameleon's head, but not quite to the top. And now to finish adding the basic form of our chameleon before we start adding details, we need to add the tail. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to make a line like a capital G, or almost like the number 6 if it helps you think of it that way. But we don't close it, we leave it open. That's for the top of our tail, but our tail has to have a bottom side too. So I am going to do my best to follow that shape. We want it to get skinnier as it gets near the end and make another G shape that connects. And now we have a nice curly tail. I am going to erase my branch line because it would be behind my chameleon's tail. The basic shape of our chameleon is almost done, but we do need to make 2 little U shapes, one on the body and one near the head for our chameleon's cute little feetsies. And once again, they're on top of the branch, so we can erase our branch lines from behind. And we've already started to have our little chameleon resting on a branch. Now we can start to add some of our chameleon's details. We're going to start with a nice big circle for the eye. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Just got to do your best. And then I'm going to make kind of a diagonal line with a little bit of an up curve to it for my chameleon's eyelid. And then we can add a nice big circle for the pupil. You don't need to color that in with your pencil because we will be coloring that in with our black outline marker. But if you like to color it in with your pencil just to remind yourself what it is, you can do that too. Now I did say this was a happy little chameleon guy, so I am going to make my curvy smile line like a half U shape. And that tells me where my mouth is. So now I know where to draw my tongue from. So I'm going to make a line that comes up and does a spiral, meaning it curls in on itself. Now you can leave your tongue just like this, or if you want to make it two-dimensional like your tail, we're going to go to that tip and we're going to follow the spiral we drew the best we can. We don't have to be perfect. We're going to do our best and have it go and meet back at the mouth. Now, chameleons have these kind of little spikies that go down their back. So I am going to make them. It's an upside down V shape. Or if you want to think about it like you're making a capital M over and over again, you can think of it that way. But I'm going to add as many spikies as I can fit on my chameleon's back. And now I want to add the sections for my rainbow sections for my chameleon. So I want to make sure I have at least 6. If I have more, that's okay. If I have less, that's really okay too. But I want to try to have 6. And I'm just going to make some up and down lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. And now I'm going to do the same thing with my tail, but I do want to make sure that I am going around and changing my angle as my tail curls. So some of them are going to be sideways, some of them are going to be up and down. I just want to follow the curl of my tail. You don't have to be perfectly spaced. You don't need to measure anything. Just do your best. Now our chameleon is drawn. His details are added. So now we need to add some details for our background before we can start to color and move on. I want this to be a springtime scene outside. So I want to make sure that my tree has just a few little budding leaves on it. So I'm going to draw a stem, and then a C and a backward C to make my leaf shape. I add one there, maybe I'll add a couple down here. They can be teeny leaves because that's how baby leaves grow. They're small at first. And they can overlap a little bit because that happens in nature sometimes. So we've got our little leaves there. Maybe one more right here. So now my branch has a few little leaves sprouting out of it. I also want this to be a nice sunny day. So I'm going to do a nice round circle shape. You don't have to do it in the corner. Maybe you want to do it in the center, or maybe you want to put it somewhere else. But once I get my round shape pretty good, then I can trace over it. Draw a light till you get it right. And I don't just want to have a plain sun. I want to add some sun rays. So I'm going to make some skinny little triangles to be my sun rays. Lizards are cold-blooded creatures, which means that they have to get their warmth from warm things. So that's why you'll often find them laying in the sun, maybe on a hot rock or a warm tree branch. But that's how he is getting his warmth from the sun. And this side looks a little empty, so I'm going to put a nice little happy cloud. Maybe you have another detail that you want to add to make your picture different. That's fine. Just try to think of things that belong in the sky. And guess what? This is the total drawing of our happy rainbow chameleon right here. Our next step, after drawing and making sure that we have everything the way we want it, is going to be to add our outline. We can use a washable marker. We can use a permanent marker. Whatever we have is just fine. I'm going to use my washable marker because I want to show you that you don't need a fancy permanent marker to make this work. And the first thing I'm going to outline is my chameleon because he is the main part of my picture. So I'm going to go over his head that I made with a capital L and a curvy line to connect them. When I do my outline, I do my best to trace my lines, but if I make a mistake, that's okay because that's what my eraser is for. We're going to erase all our other messy lines at the end. I did just want to give you that little reminder. I'm going to outline his body that we did with a line and another curvy line. I'm going to outline his nice little spikes that we made with our V or our M shape. Now his nice tail, his nice curly tail that we made with a big G shape and a smaller G shape. His cute little U feet. our nice big circle eye with our diagonal line for our eyelid and our nice black pupil. That's the dark spot in our eye. He's got his nice happy smile and his spirally curly tongue. We're going to do one way and then the other, meeting back at the mouth. Let's add his nice sections where we're going to add our different rainbow colors. Same thing with the tail. And since our curl is taily, and since our tail is curly, our sections are going to curl around following the shape of the tail. We can outline our branch. Remember, we don't need a straight line because it's a nice textured branch. So it's got some bumps and lumps and knots. Got good texture, just like a real tree. I'm going to outline my nice little sprouting leaves that I added to show that it's starting to be springtime. Got my one that goes under the other one here. Let's add this little one. C shape, backward C shape. This is our biggest leaf. It gets the most sun, so it's the biggest. Outline my cute, happy little cloud. And let's outline our sun with our circle shape and our skinny little triangle sun rays. When we're done with our outline, that would be the time to pick up our pencil again, or if we have just an eraser, that's fine too. But we want to make sure that we go in and we clean up our entire picture of all of our extra pencil lines. We don't need them. They're gonna look messy if we don't erase them. So we take our time, we take the extra step to make our artwork look extra nice, and we erase all of those extra pencil lines that are still showing. If you did a really good job on your outline, you might not need this step because you might not have any pencil lines showing. But Miss Deutsch always takes this time for this step because it really does make a big difference when you're looking at your picture when it's all done. Oh, I really didn't do a good job on this tongue. It was hard to outline. Okay, where else? Oh, I got a little pencil line here, got a little pencil line here, a little bit in my tail. Get these corners real good. Get my little leaf real good. So now you should have a nice clean coloring page that you've made all for yourself. We will be using our rainbow colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple to color our chameleon, as well as some of the things that surround him in his nature setting. I'm using colored pencils today because I want to show you a little bit about how easy they are to blend, but if you have crayon or marker, you can feel free to use those as well. What we color with really isn't so important. We can use whatever we have at home. Lizards tend to be green. They come in lots of different fun colors too, but they tend to be green. And chameleons are no exception. But what makes chameleons so special is they can change their color to different colors or patterns so that they can camouflage or they can blend in with their background. So what this means is a chameleon who is laying on a nice warm rock might look gray and brown. A chameleon who's crawling through the grass to maybe find a nice little snack, he might appear green. A chameleon that's standing in front of a bright red wall might appear red. Chameleons can adapt to their surroundings really well, and this is what keeps them safe from predators who might want to make them a nice little snack. They can't see them. That is why, even though a chameleon is small and it doesn't really have sharp claws and it doesn't have sharp teeth, it's not that good at necessarily being a type of animal who maybe fights. But it protects itself by camouflaging, by blending in with its surroundings. And this is the chameleon's way that it does it. It adapts. And right now, we're all going through kind of a crazy time, huh? We're all sitting at home. We don't get to see our friends at school. We're probably wondering what's going on. And now's our time to learn from our friend the chameleon and how we can adapt to the way of life that we're currently experiencing. It's not going to last forever, but we can make the best of it while it's happening. So we're going to start with our green color because it's the main color that lizards usually are. And I'm going to color my chameleon's head with my green. Now I'm practicing careful coloring, which means I'm picking appropriate colors. I'm taking my time and doing my best to stay inside the lines. I'm going in one direction so that it doesn't look like I'm scribbling. And I'm doing my best to fill in the whole space without leaving a lot of extra white area. This is what I call careful coloring, and it's a way of showing effort and making even the simplest coloring pages look extra, extra, extra nice. So taking my time, filling my space in completely, trying not to leave too much white, going in one direction. I'm going to do his eyelid as well. Now I use pretty soft pressure when I color. If you want to use harder pressure and get more saturation, meaning you have more color showing, that's fine too. I like to leave it light until I'm sure that I like it, and then I can always darken it up if I want. Okay, so there is my nice green head on my chameleon. Now, rainbow order can go either way. You can go forwards or you can go backwards, but I'm going to go from green to yellow. So my next section, using my next rainbow color, is going to be a yellow section. And I am going to do the spikes that touch my yellow section in that same bright yellow color. Green, then yellow, then comes orange. So once again, one direction. Doing my best to stay inside my lines while filling in my space completely, not letting a lot of white show through. I'm going to fill in my next section of my chameleon with orange, and I'm going to do the spikes to match. And if they're orange, is going to be red. Filling in my whole section, doing my lines, and color my spikes to match. After red comes purple or violet. Once again, doing my best to stay inside the lines, filling in my area completely. and coloring my spikes to match. After purple comes blue, and I am using a true blue, meaning no shade, no navy blue, no sky blue, just blue. Filling in my whole area, trying not to leave any white, coloring my spikes to match. And that brings us back to the beginning, back to green. And if I keep my pencils in order, it makes it a lot easier. I don't even have to think in between choosing my colors. I can just use the one at the front, put it back to the end, and keep going. So after green comes yellow. After yellow comes orange. After orange comes red. After red comes purple or violet. You can call it whichever you like. It's the same color. I don't really know why we have two different names for that color. Maybe that would be a cool thing for Mrs. Deutsch to look up and learn. And we're back to blue. And then green. We're going to start really moving as these sections get smaller and smaller near the end of our tail. And then yellow again. Orange again. Red again. Purple. Blue. And we've got green, yellow, orange, and then the tip of our tail we're going to fill in with red. So we have our adorable little rainbow chameleon. And now I want to show you a little bit about why I chose color pencils, and it's because it's easy to blend. So this little footy is touching our yellow and our green section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to color half of it green, and then the other half I'm going to go right over top of it with the yellow. So we've got a nice transition from one color to the other, and we can see how our chameleon is changing. Our other footy is touching mostly purple, but it's close to the red and it's close to the blue. So I'm going to do a little bit of blue on, do a little bit of red on one side, a little bit of blue on the other side, and then I'm going to connect them with my purple for a nice blend. So now we've got a nice little rainbow chameleon where his feet are showing the transition from color to color. One last thing to color is going to be our chameleon's tongue, which I am going to do with the red shade because that makes the most sense for his tongue. It might be a little bit more of a pinky color, but for today, and if you want to use pink, you can. But for today, since I'm trying to stick to these rainbow colors for the most part, we will have to use brown for our branch. And maybe a little sky blue in our sky. But we've got our nice orange. Wow. Our nice red spiral tongue. Now, what I said before, as part of the chameleon's way that it adapts to its surroundings, is that it blends in with the things around it. So we want to use the rainbow colors that we use to color our chameleon to color the area around to show why he is those colors. So the place where it would make sense that he gets his green from is going to be our nice leaves. And that is where the chameleon got his green, is right from these little leaves. Where did he get his yellow and his orange? Well, from the sun, of course. So our warm colors. And they're the colors that make up the sun and fire and other things that we find in nature that are warm. So I am going to color my sun yellow. Making sure I get some good saturation in there since yellow is such a light color. And then I'm going to color my little spiky rays with my orange. Doing my best to stay in the lines. Doing my best to fill in the space completely, not leaving any white. Doing my best to color in one direction so it doesn't look like I scribbled. Very nice. Now, where did our chameleon get its blue? It got its blue from the sky, but we are going to use a nice sky blue because it works best for the sky. And this is going to be our biggest section that we have to color. So Mrs. Deutsch is really going to go quickly because I want to get this finished in a reasonable amount of time with you guys, but I do want you to see every step. I don't want to skip anything for you. So I'm going to do my best to get my sky blue down quickly. If all you have is regular blue, feel free to use it. It will make more sense with your rainbow chameleon. But like I said, I really like sky blue for my sky, and I have it, so that's what I'm going to use. Going to be really careful. I have to take my time when I color in around the spiral tongue. It's a very, very intricate shape. I'm going to get all my little areas first because they're going to be the easiest. So maybe around my leaves, under my lizard I did, maybe this little corner here that's showing around the leaves. Sorry about that, guys. Somebody tried to call me. All right, and then we'll do around our sun as well. Taking extra care not to get it in our spikes or on our sun. But we're going to fill in our whole sky with our sky blue. All right, I'm going to fast forward a little bit because we're getting low on time, and I want to make sure that I get this all done. So I also picked a brown shade. Brown doesn't fall into our rainbow colors because it's a neutral. And the way we get brown is by mixing all of these colors together. That gives us brown. So I am going to take my brown and I'm going to color in my branch. My nice sturdy branch that my chameleon decided to hang out on. He's just laying in the sun, soaking up the rays, thinking about how lucky he is to be outside, thinking about how lucky he is that he's able to adapt to whatever his surroundings are. And all that means is he can adjust to fit in with his environment. So whatever that means for us these days, it means we're going to get better and better and better at just being at home. We'll think of new ways to communicate with our friends. We're figuring out new ways to learn while we're not in school. Hopefully we're figuring out new ways to help mom and dad at home while everybody's home together. If you've maybe got mom and dad who are still going to work because they're very important right now, maybe you can think of some new ways that you can adjust and make things at home easier for them, whether it's cleaning up your art supplies when you're done with them, or maybe helping to learn how to cook dinner with mom and dad, whatever it is. But we're all going to be doing some adapting and adjusting during this time when we're on lockdown. Add a little more with my sky blue, but basically, since I already have one finished, I can do the little magic ta-da trick. And there we have it, our finished rainbow chameleon hanging out on his happy tree branch, soaking up the sun with some nice fresh spring leaves. I hope you had a great time drawing this with Mrs. Deutsch today. I love to see your finished work. I'll have details in the description for the video of my Instagram and what hashtag you can use, so maybe I can see your finished pictures from wherever you are in the world, whether I know you or not. But I love to see your finished artwork. That's one of the biggest things I'm missing about live in-person art classes. I don't get to see my students' work when it's finished. So feel free to share with me. I love seeing it. If you have any feedback, any questions or comments, you can feel free to leave them. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the comment section on my channel. I don't know if it's just because I'm a new channel, but they're not allowing comments. I do have them turned on, but it seems to be disabled for everyone. So I'm trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure all of this out, frankly, but thank you for joining me with this experience and following along on this journey with me. I hope to create a lot more of these lessons and have a lot more of these classes. I know I just found out that my school will be closed likely till very close to the end of April. So we've certainly got quite a bit of time ahead of us. And I do plan on continuing these art lessons. If you have any ideas for what you'd like to learn, let me know. I will do my best to get a lesson together for you. Once again, thank you again so much for joining me with this class. Feel free to share your work with me and give me any feedback you have. Other than that, stay safe, stay happy, and do your best to get through this period with some smiles on your face. I'll see you all next time. Thanks again. Bye.